we can hear you.
You should also be able to see me speaking. And you should also be able to see my screen with Wikipedia. Okay, hi, hello. I want to begin by thanking the previous speaker, Alice Kibombo, for the excellent presentation. The social issues about the importance of translation and generally writing in your languages and developing the language diversity of Wikipedia. She presented them really well. So I really have nothing to add. It was just excellent. So what is left for me to do is just to show one of the ways in which you can practice this language diversity, and the way in which you can quite easily, with relatively little effort, create content in your languages in Wikipedia. Who listen here, there are people who speak a lot of different languages of Africa. So I'm very happy about this. Feel really privileged to do this. And I hope to be of use. So how do we start? Content translation is a feature built into Wikipedia, which helps create articles by translating them from another language. So, for example, if there's an article that exists in the English or French or Portuguese or Russian Wikipedia, any language in which you can read well, and it doesn't exist in another language in which you can write, could be really any language, whatever, Hausa, Zulu, Yoruba, anything else, you can use the built-in content translation tool to translate this article into your language quite easily. Now I'm going to show you how to do this, and later you can reach out to me. I'm fairly easy to find on Wikipedia and on email. And if you have any more questions, I'll be happy to help you. But I'll give you this demo, how to do this, how to start doing this, and I will answer right away to some very common questions. And if you have any more questions, again, you can reach out to me later. So to use content translation, you need to create a Wikipedia account and log in. It only works for users who logged in. You need to enable content translation. Because by default it is disabled. So you need to enable content translation in the preferences. How you do this? After you log in, you look at the top of the screens. You can see my username here. So this is Amir E80. So your username will appear at the same place. And then you see all these other little links. So there's talk, sandbox, preferences, beta. So beta is the link that you need to click. So it takes a few seconds to load. And then you get to the beta features preferences. So for those of you who don't know, in computer software, something that is beta is some kind of a new feature that is being experimented. Content translation is actually not such a new feature. It's already 5 years old. So we actually gradually taking it out of the beta status, but for now it is still defined as beta. If you look at it from the English Wikipedia. So you go to beta and then you need to scroll down. So there are several beta features here. I enabled some of them and I disabled some of them. But you can see here, so new video player, reference previews, that's not what I'm talking about. Content translation is the one that you need to enable. So make sure that the checkbox here is on, and then you need to push the save button at the bottom. So that's how you enable content translation, and then you will be able to use it. Now, once you enabled content translation, take a look at, again, at the top of the screen at your, we will call this the private tools. So again, your username, and then the links to talk, sandbox, preferences, beta. We already spoke about beta. Then you have watchlist. A watchlist is a separate feature. Contributions. So contributions is where you will find content translation. How you can remember this. So translation that you will be doing is a kind of contribution. So there are many ways to contribute to Wikipedia, but one of them is translation. So look at contributions, and then there is this item called translations, and you click this. This gets you to the content translation dashboard. A few seconds and we'll see this. So once you're here, you can look at the dashboard. So in the dashboard, you see the new translation button at the top. We will speak about this in a minute. If you don't know what to translate, from what I understood, in this group, you more or less know what you will be translating about. You will be translating on various articles related to African cinema. But just so you know, if you want to translate something, you want to give some of your time, but you're not sure what you want to translate about, you can try clicking on the suggestions button, and it will show you all kinds of articles that don't yet exist in the language into which you want to translate. It is automatically tailored to every user, but you don't have to use it. Like suggestions is only if you don't know what to translate and you need a suggestion. The in progress button shows translations that you have already started. So I am now translating an article about an Indian educator. So I haven't yet finished it. So it appears here in progress. If you haven't started anything, then this will be empty. Now, if I want to start a new translation, then I click this button at the top, new translation. So if you are now looking at your laptop, please don't do what I do, because every user can translate only one, only one user can translate the same article at the time. So I'm going to pick an article. Please don't pick the same article as I do. So first, I need to pick the language. So I speak Hebrew. So the language into which I usually translate is Hebrew. So this button here, so there's the search box at the top, which says search for a page to translate. And then there's this button which shows the language. And if I click this button, I can select language. So I'm going to select, for example, let's see, Yoruba, just as an example. Oh, sorry, mistake. This is a language from which I'm going to translate. Let's select English as the language from which I'm going to translate. And yeah, oh, just a second. Yeah, okay. English is a language from which I'm going to translate. And I don't know, let's pick something. I heard that there's a famous Senegalese movie. Yeah, Atlantics, yeah. So there's a famous Senegalese movie, and there is no article yet about it in Yoruba. So again, how did I do this? I will show this one more time. New translation, select the language from which I want to translate. So this will be English now. Oh, yeah, English. And now I type the name of the article. Click. So now this is selected. Now, before you go on, please check that the correct language is selected. So this button here shows that it's from English to Yoruba. Notice the arrow here. So from English to Yoruba. And once I see this, I can start the translation. Start the translation. Now, this takes a few seconds. So introduction, what actually do you see here? So this is the translation environment. Content translation is an environment for you, the human user, the translator, to translate an article conveniently. Now, I intentionally say human because very often a lot of people from all countries confuse translation, which is what humans do, with machine translation, which is what a lot of people use online on sites like Google Translate or Bing Translate or Yandex Translate. So we are not talking about machine translation here. It is your responsibility as a human editor, as a writer of an article, that the article is written well. In some languages, we have machine translation to help you. It is integrated into this tool. I will show you in a few seconds how is it integrated, but you are supposed to fix all the mistakes that machine translation makes. Machine translation very often makes mistakes, and you have to fix them. Because, you know, if machine translation was perfect, it will never be perfect. But if machine translation was perfect, then we wouldn't need human translators. We wouldn't need human editors to translate from one article to another, but we do need human editors. We do need you, people who know these languages. So you need to read the source article, and you need to carefully write the translation and make sure that the translation is correct before you publish. Next thing, at the top of many articles, not all, but a very large number of articles, there is a thing called the info box. So this is the info box that is now highlighted in blue. You can usually skip it because I won't go deeply into that, but for all kinds of technical reasons, it is difficult to use content translation to translate the info box. So you should skip it. And after you publish the translated article, you can add it already to the published article. So for now, let's skip this box and scroll down. And here I get to the actual first paragraph of text. So this is in English. So we are translating paragraph after paragraph. And we are not translating the whole article at once. We're translating paragraph after paragraph. You actually don't have to translate all the paragraphs. If you think that there is a paragraph in the source language that is not really necessary, you are translating, you can just skip it. And let's take a look at the first paragraph. So I'm going to click here. So this is in the middle of the screen, there's this empty space where you will be writing your translation. So this is the English on the left. In the middle, when you put your mouse pointer over here, you see that it says add translation. So I'm clicking add translation. Takes a few seconds to load. Yeah, so what you see now is that this was automatically filled by machine translation. You can see here on the sidebar, on the right-hand side, that it says initial translation at the top, and then it says use Google Translate. So if you think that this Google Translate automatic machine translation, if you think that this is useful for you, if you think that this helps you and makes you translate faster, very good, use it. Nevertheless, you have to check every word. So unfortunately, I don't know Yoruba, so I cannot say which mistakes are here, but I'm certain that there are some mistakes here in this paragraph, because machine translation always makes mistakes. So how do you fix these mistakes? Again, I'm just going to type something random because unfortunately I don't know Yoruba, but you just click here and let's say that, I don't know, this word is incorrect, it's unnecessary here, so I'm just going to delete it. And I don't know, this word, I'm going to add something. You have to check every word and you have to fix this. Now, let's take a look at some more details. If you like Google Translate, good, it will help you. In some languages, we just don't have Google Translate. It's just not available for that language. So Google Translate, if I remember correctly, for the languages of Africa, it is available for Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, Zulu, Xhosa, and I think Nyanja, and maybe Siswati. And I think that this is it. And unfortunately, no other languages of Africa are supported by Google Translate. So Twi, for example, which is spoken by a lot of people, unfortunately is not supported at all by Google Translate. So if you are translating into Twi, what you will have to do is to just delete everything and just type by yourself. Some people say, some people misunderstand this and say, machine translation doesn't work when I translate into Twi. No, it works. It's just that you have to type everything by yourself. It's actually not such a big difference, because if you do use machine translation, you have to check every word in any case. So typing from scratch and checking every word that machine translation does is actually not that different. You do have to check every word. Now, let's take a look here. I will go to the next paragraph. Let's imagine that I already did this paragraph. So I'm going to click on the next paragraph. Let's take a look that we see. Okay, so this is a very good example. So you see, this is the text. Let me disable spell checking, and you can see here that most of the text is in black letters. So black letters is just usual text. The blue text here is a link. So this link was automatically adapted from the source article. So you can see here that in the English, it says the Atlantic Ocean. So there is an article about the Atlantic Ocean in Yoruba. Yoruba is the language into which I am translating. So there is an article about the Atlantic Ocean, and the content translation system automatically found how to link to the article about the Atlantic Ocean. Now, I'm actually not sure that this is spelled correctly. Like the link is correct, but maybe the spelling here is incorrect. For example, I can see on the sidebar. So this is how the article is actually called in Yoruba. So there are here the tone marks, the high tone, the low tone, the mi and the do. So you can add them. Let's see. I have to fix it. So I think it will be something like this. Yeah, and like this, and I guess like this. Yeah. No. Well, I'm not sure how to type this anyway. So so I have to fix this. Even though the link is adapted, you have to check that it is written correctly. Now there will also be some gray text. The gray text means that it is a link in English, but there is no such article in the Yoruba Wikipedia, in the language into which you are translating. So in this case, you have two choices. You can just ignore this and not do anything. And if you just don't do anything, then it will be, when you publish the article, it will be just published as usual text. And when you can mark it as a missing article, or as we call it in our Wikipedia jargon, a red link, because a link to an article that doesn't exist yet is called a red link. It appears usually in the red color. So if I, for example, this Yoruba word, if there's anybody here listening and who knows Yoruba, then this says ojo. I guess this means employment. I just guess by what it says in the English text. So if I click now mark as missing, it will appear in red. So there will be this link. It doesn't mean that, like the article ojo, it will not write itself. You will have to write it later, but it will be a red link. So you can do this. If there are no images here, and I'm getting to the end of my time soon. Maybe if I have time later, I will show you images, but just very briefly, if there are any images, photographs in the source article, you can just copy them to the target article by just one click. Just like you click on paragraphs to add translation, you can click on the empty space for the image, and the image will just appear there, and that's it. That's all you have to do. However, some images have a caption underneath them, and you have to translate the caption. You have to click on the caption text under the image, and you have to translate the caption. But that's it. That's all you need to do to translate the image. You also have to check the title of the article at the top. So here it just copied the title from the English Wikipedia title, Atlantics. It just made Atlantics the same. I don't know if this is the correct title in Yoruba. Maybe you should change it to something else. If this is good, the same as in English, then it's fine, just leave it. But maybe you have to change this. So you can see that there's a blinking cursor here, and you can change the title. One last thing about the translation, you can see that there are a lot of footnotes, also known as citations or references in the English article. So if you look on the English side on the left, you can see like these little numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are footnotes or references. They are not always automatically copied. Unfortunately, this happens especially frequently in languages of Africa, because very, very unfortunately, the technical infrastructure for supporting these footnotes is less developed in languages of Africa. This is not great. There are all kinds of reasons for this. Unfortunately, I'm not going to speak about this in detail here. So if such a reference could not be copied automatically, you will see this number in gray. So you see this number here in gray color. This will not be published. When you publish the article, so there's this publish button at the top in blue. When you publish the article, this will just not be published. If you do want to add these references, these footnotes to the article, you will have to add them later after the article is already published. Once the article is already published, you can simply edit it as any article, and it will just work as in any other article. There's an insert reference button in the toolbar when you are editing. So these are the basics of translation. And once you're done, just publish. When you are, my time is up. So one really last comment. Once you are, once you publish, it will be published with this title. So you can publish directly to what we call the article space. That's the space where the actual Wikipedia articles appear. You can also publish to your user space, which will be like a draft. So it will be already published as a page, but not yet in the main article space like other articles. So you will sometimes want to do this if you think that the article is mostly ready, but you want to fix a few more things before you actually move this to the main space. So to do this, to publish this to the user space, click this gear button near publish. And then you can click personal draft. And then you will see that it will publish to your user space. So this is my username / and the name of the article. And that's all I had for the content translation instruction.